Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kindness Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Carly Riggs, and there's a lot going on in the world right now, friends. This episode is a conversation that I had with our executive director, Julie Torzewski, and you will hear in this episode that it was last week before everything in the world shut down. We talk about the coronavirus and how we hoped that nothing was going to be closed, and we even giggled about it and didn't really think that anything was going to come of it. But here we are, not even a week later, and I guess, has it been a week later? I can't even keep track of time anymore, but it was right when it all started happening that we talked, and now I'm coming to you from my house. We're all social distancing. I just got off of a Zoom call with 70 of my Boogie Down crew dancers. We've been dancing through Zoom. Our day programs have stopped. All of our programs have stopped, but the day programs have stopped. Most of our employees have been furloughed. It's a scary time, and one thing that we can provide is this podcast to you. So we're going to try to edit as fast as we can and get these out to you so that you have some great content and can still learn about Down syndrome and about our members and just get some goodness into your lives. So before we begin, it's World Down Syndrome Day, and I wanted to just share some of my thoughts on World Down Syndrome Day. So I know there's been a lot of content. A lot of it is about COVID-19, how much it is ravaging our lives, and so many folks are struggling. But today, in my feed, the clouds parted and the sun started to shine again because it's World Down Syndrome Day. Stories, photos, smiles, accomplishments, dreams. It has been such a nice break from all of the bleak content, a breath of fresh air. And that's when I realized that's what people with Down syndrome are. They're a breath of fresh air. Sunshine on a cloudy day, truly. They're the energy in the room. They are my energy. They are my why. Tomorrow, the feed will probably go back to memes of COVID-19 and stats and graphs and pleas for help. But I'm hoping that today we can keep celebrating. Down Syndrome of Louisville has a new campaign called In It Together, and I will post it in the show notes. And we would be so honored and happy if you would share it or donate to it. Not because we're all sad and desperate, because we probably will be that again tomorrow, but because you know or have known someone with Down syndrome who has been sunshine in your life, who has been a breath of fresh air for you. We will survive this, my friends. I know that we will. Everything's going to be okay. And in my life, I know we will survive this because our members will be there for us to give us energy and light. So with that, I hope that you enjoy my conversation with Julie Torzewski. We talk about all of the programs that are happening at Down Syndrome of Louisville, the programs, the services, the partnerships, the events. And even though a lot of these services and programs and events aren't happening right now, they will be back, and we all will be back and will be stronger than ever. So please enjoy Julie Torzewski.
You're listening to the Kindness Warrior podcast, a Down Syndrome of Louisville production, serving locally, sharing globally.
Okay, let's get to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Let's talk about our programs, resources, events, partnerships, and services.
Yes, we affectionately call PREPS.
PREPS. We won't have to talk about every single one of them, but let's start with events. So if someone that's listening that does, like, maybe they don't know anything about Down Syndrome of Louisville, maybe they live in the community, maybe they don't, maybe they want to visit or something like that. Let's talk about the events that we have going on every year.
Sure. So we have two types of events. The biggest ones that we usually refer to are our fundraising events. So we have some really fun fundraising events. One that's coming up quickly is our Down with Derby fashion show. So that is something that we have our typical models and models with Down syndrome usually kick off the Derby season, show off some really fun outfits. We have vendors, and it's just a lot of fun. So that's quickly become one of our larger fundraisers and people get excited about. And then on the heels of that, we have our Gallop Gala, which is, again, another Derby-esque event. We are so lucky that Churchill Downs lets us hold both of these events at the track. You may have heard of Churchill Downs before, little thing called the Kentucky Derby. But those are really fun events. At the gala, we actually honor our members who as celebrities. So we roll out the red carpet. They come dressed up. They get to stay and eat and party with us. And if anybody knows how to party, it's our guys. So
yeah, absolutely.
We have a good time. And then, no event is ever complete without a dance party around here.
That's right. That's right.
It is very fun. But we have a great auction and event that night, and just really engage our community in what we're doing and tell them all about what we're doing. Because like you said, we are a close-knit family, but I feel like people need to know that we are a resource here and that we're the largest association in the country, and that, people are just really blessed to have us in the community for those with Down syndrome.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about, so we have the Down with Derby fashion show, we have the Gallop Gala, and then
we turn the corner for golf. So we have a golf outing we've had for the longest. That's been our most historical event, and it is definitely, again, a reception the night before. Our Boogie Down crew performs usually at the golf reception. And then a day of celebrity golfers, so local celebrities, athletes usually will come play with our members. And that raises a lot of money to support us as well. So finally, we have our big, what I call our family event. I feel like it's our DSL family event. It's our Steps to Independence Walk. And that is in September every year. So it's a walk and a 5K, but really where we try to engage the community. We have over 3,000 people come out to the waterfront and just learn about who we are, enjoy being with our members and supporting the member that they know, and usually dress up and theme and carry signs and walk. Yeah. And again, it's just a great fundraiser to help support all of our PREPS that we have.
Right. So these events are the what we call the fundraising events, and these are to sustain all of the work that we're doing. Right. And these are things that anyone from the community could come in and either buy a ticket for or participate in, and all that. But that is supporting some of the programs that we're going to talk about next. Okay, let's start from, there's so much, you guys, there's so much going on at DSL. It's
so much.
There's so much going on. So let's separate it by age.
Okay.
Let's start prenatal. What does a family do if they get a prenatal diagnosis?
Prenatal diagnoses are obviously more and more common now as technology increases, and we try to reach out to all the OBGYNs, anyone who would be giving that diagnosis, and making sure that they connect the family with us. Mm-hmm. And so we immediately at that point will contact them, someone on our staff, and usually try to gauge how they're feeling. We often say, we'll meet you where you are. We never, people may not want to be all in. They may be a tiptoer. We just want to know what you need, what information you'd like, so that not everybody goes and starts Googling, we hope, because it's not always the most positive information. Mm-hmm. So we talk about a tale of two syndromes is an article that we've shared a lot. But there's the old Down syndrome story that I feel like sometimes our older medical community or those who haven't known anybody with Down syndrome recently think about when they think of Down syndrome. And it's unfortunately not what we see every day in our individuals. And so we want to make sure that parents with that diagnosis at that time are aware of the potential and the opportunities and the blessing that having an individual with Down syndrome can be. So that's really where we start. We actually had parents before who have been deciding what to do at that diagnosis point. They mm-hmm. call, we will bring in other moms, other dads, siblings, whatever they need to hear from, and just kind of have a powwow. And that honestly is the most helpful for people at that stage, I think.
Absolutely. Tell me about your baby. You know what I'm going to ask. You're smiling. So tell us about your first baby.
First baby
yeah.
visit, yes. So Brian Patrick is one of the babies we have here, one of our members. And he I met his mom right before the day that I found I got the job, I saw her, and I just met her not long before that. And so anyway, he is kind of who I identify as my baby, because as he grows, I'll know how long I've been here. But he's just got the best smile, and I think he's a perfect example of the joy that they bring to our lives.
Yeah, and then didn't you had that family in to meet?
Yes, yeah, they came in to meet the family that was deciding, what they were going to do, and they are now close. The families are close. That baby is here, and she's beautiful, and they're in love, and so it's just a great success story. They both
absolutely.
make me smile, both those babies.
Yeah, and it's almost like you can almost, I don't want to say ownership, but like it's like that symbolizes something that your first year here, that this happened, this amazing thing happened. Yeah. Okay, so now that the baby's here, then what?
So next, if we are not already in touch with them prenatally, then the social workers at the local hospitals all know to give them a form to let them know that we exist and permission to contact them. And so once we get that form, we usually send a text to everybody that is a potential visitor and say, new baby. And then we all want to go invite them to the family. And so, again, we will go visit usually in the hospital or at home, whatever they're most comfortable with. There are baskets that we place at all the hospitals, welcome baskets, so that they can get those immediately from the staff that have some information. We don't want to overload people with information at that point, but just, some welcome gifts and some blankets and toys that we know that our guys like. And so then usually we'll reach out to the family by phone once they agree, and again, kind of gauge their situation, learn a little bit about the family, what part of town they live in, if they have other siblings, that kind of thing, and then try to take a mom or a parent with me who matches up with their situation.
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll go visit them. And
how many babies did we have in 2019?
33. Wow. 33 babies in our regional area. So we claim a 18-county area, 3 in southern Indiana and 15 in Kentucky. So that includes that area and a couple outliers that don't have their own associations. But it's a good number. It's a little higher than it's been the last few years. So we always love that number going up.
Yes, absolutely. How many do we have so far in 2020? Do you have enough?
I don't have any right now.
Oh, none?
No, we have one. I'm sorry. Okay. He was born last week, Hudson.
Oh, good.
We've known about him for so long. His mom's been on bed rest for 8 weeks. I almost forgot. Yeah. He's here. Hudson is here. So Hudson is our first, and then we have one more that I know of that's
on the way.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so the baby's born. They call DSL, and then they've decided they're going to start coming and hanging out with us. What are they going to do next?
Yeah, the first thing that we want to get them engaged with is, so the state offers First Steps, which is a Medicaid program. We are a provider of First Steps. So we have 3 developmental interventionists who specialize.
Will be on the podcast in a few episodes. Yes.
Coming up soon. But they specialize in Down syndrome development. And so we make sure that they are aware of that, so that when they reach out to First Steps, which has to be when the baby is dismissed from the hospital or sent home from the hospital, discharged from the hospital. And so as long as they know to contact First Steps and ask for one of our DIs, then we feel like that they're in the family. The DIs will visit them as often as needed for the first 3 years, from 0 to 3. And they go wherever baby goes. So they go to grandma's, they go to daycare, we're at the home, wherever they're needed. And that really, again, is just their first tie. But we also have infant classes and toddler classes here on campus that they can come to as well. And those are really important because we talk about not even so much for the child, but for the parents.
Absolutely.
For the guardians. It's their tribe meeting their people. And so we really encourage them to come on Thursdays and Saturdays throughout the month. We have those classes here as well. And the developmental interventionists direct those classes, do kind of a preschool type thing, so that we're preparing them from a young age on how to behave in preschool.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting older. They're getting a little bit older. They're early ed, school age.
Yeah, so school age next is usually the 3 to 5 range is interesting because it's when the First Step stops, but they are not quite in school yet. And so we've actually been looking to beef up that age area. We're looking at partnering with Special Olympics for a young athletes project or program that they can do. But we definitely have, again, those classes they can keep coming to until they're 5 before they go to school. But we definitely are in contact with them for transitions as well. So as they transition from First Steps to preschool and then maybe preschool to kindergarten, that's really where things get interesting because everybody has their own choice of schooling, and we just want to make sure they're supported, and then we can help educate wherever they choose, support them in IEP meetings, that kind of thing.
That's a service that I feel like a lot of families don't realize that we have. Is that IEP support.
Yeah, we have a lot of certified teachers who work here on staff who are available to go to IEP meetings with them, advise them on situations that are happening at school. We love to go educate schools. I always say, I feel like sometimes our families will choose a church and or school based on if they've had someone with Down syndrome or if they know about it. I was like, it's okay if they don't. We can educate them. Let's tell them about it. Let's, give them an experience. I think the more we can introduce our members to, the community and more inclusion, the better. So we offer that as well. We will go help educate the community. So we support them with school age. We also have Saturday school. So when they're in school, they can come here once a month on Saturdays and work on some skills with our teachers here. Then we have our summer camp. So C is our summer education enrichment camp, and it's 7 weeks. So we hire some additional staff, some teachers to come work with our members. They have field trips every Friday. That's the most important part, right? But they get to work on their skills and make sure there's not the summer slide doesn't happen, because it happens to typical kids, but with our kids it could be even more detrimental. Yeah. So our parents really love C. It's been really fun. It changes the temperature of the building around here, as you all know, having the little ones in here with us. And we also have some of our adult members work with them, so they will be teacher assistants for those classrooms, which I think is really cool. Our parents love to have the adults work with their young ones.
Yes.
But
the other program that I love that we have is, which I'll let you talk about, the Adult Development Academy. That's one of our biggest programs. Yeah. But some of our members that are in the Adult Development Academy have what's it called? Reading club or book buddies.
Yes.
Where they go and they read. Oh my gosh, it's the best. It's like magic. It's totally precious. Okay, so C happens in the summer.
Right.
Saturday school is on Saturdays, obviously.
Yes.
But that's school age. School age, when we say school age, we're talking kindergarten through middle school?
13. Usually we say age 13, just because it might be different for our folks depending on what grade they're in.
And then same for summer education enrichment, C?
Yes. So that is, K through 13.
Yeah. So then when they turn 11, they start to come to my stuff.
That's right. So what can they do at 11, Carly?
Well, when they turn 11, they can join the Boogie Down Crew, the most entertaining dance team in Louisville area.
Thank you. I was going to say, tell everyone what the Boogie Down Crew is, but there you go.
They can start coming to social events, which I plan. Social events are like member events. So we do tweener events, which is 11 to 15-year-olds. We might plan a dance. We might go to a baseball game. Just anything that I think that they might like to do.
What about the lock-ins?
Oh, the lock-in, the infamous lock-ins. Once they turn 11, they can start coming to lock-in. So I do an all-girls lock-in and a dudes-only lock-in. We lock them here in the building, just like 4-H camp or Girl Scouts. Who else does lock-in? Churches sometimes do lock-ins, and I do a female lock-in and an all-male lock-in. Usually in the winter time. So we actually just recently did both lock-ins.
They are a fan favorite.
They are. Before they leave in the morning, they ask me when the next one is.
But they're only once a year. That's all we can handle.
Next year. And then once they're 11, they can also join the talent show, which is and it's another, what we call a family event. And, I produce and direct this giant talent show that we do.
It's my favorite night of the year this year. Yay, it's like you can't peel the smile off your face kind of event.
Yes, it's
so fun.
Pretty fabulous. The talent is abounding. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Abounding.
Absolutely.
So, I get to do all the fun stuff. I think I've already said that on this podcast before, but I'll say it again. I get to do all the fun stuff.
But you're so good at it. So you covered 11 is when they pick up on social events, but then also at 13 is when they can start going to teen camp. So we have a teen camp that we partner with another organization here to provide. So again, it's another 7 to 8 week camp in the summer, where they can do some fun activities and hang out with their friends. And then after that, we also talk about another transition coming up. I mean, the middle school transition's in there, which is a big one. Everybody knows middle school can be a challenge. So we definitely, again, are available for any kind of education or meeting with schools and teachers. And that's something, again, that we are looking to beef up our relationship with all the schools in the area. I'm really passionate that it's not up to us to make a decision for anyone, but to provide all the information for everybody to make the best decision for the member.
Right.
So really passionate about the schooling. Obviously, it's really important to our guys. Next would be the high school transition. So ending of high school and what comes next, right?
Yeah, and a lot of families seem really nervous about that. Like, I hear this a lot, that everything stops.
Yes.
Everything stops when
Yes.
they graduate high school. And I feel like here at DSL, it's actually, I don't want to say it's the opposite, but I feel like so many doors open.
They do. We again, as we've grown over the years, I feel like the really strong supporters and families that got us started years ago, members have grown into 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds at this point. And so they were really passionate about keeping the programming going with their members. And so we have been, I think, really proactive about building up our programming for our adults. And I think that historically was the messaging. Again, I think it has changed some. But they called it the cliff, I think, is like when you got to 18, you fell off that cliff. Because statewide services that are provided through schools.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go away.
Yeah.
So families feel like they're just kind of left, to
And
their own.
that truly is how that's how all of our adult programming started, is because families were like, we need something.
Right. And that's where our original tutoring program, which I think was the original programming we had, free tutoring we offered mainly to keep their brains working and, functionality after school was out or after they were out of school. And so that's really where we have, I think, 60 plus right now partnerships of tutors, volunteer tutors who come in on a weekly basis and meet with our members and work on skills and just, again, keep their minds working. And it also turns into a little bit of a mentor relationship too, right?
Yeah.
It's a personal relationship that's not their family or their guardian or their, neighbors. It's somebody who is choosing to spend an hour with them a week, which means so much to
I have a tutoring student and we've been together almost 8 years.
It's a long time.
And we're best friends. Like, he's one of my best friends. He was in my wedding.
Aw,
he
that's awesome.
wrote a poem.
Charlie.
And in my wedding. He's the most hilarious person on the planet. I should have him in as a co-host for sure.
Yes.
That will be.
Well, we talk a lot about engagement. That's actually your title.
Engagement
director.
Yep.
It's not about marriage. It's about getting engaged with DSL, and there's just so many ways you can do that. And you just mentioned another one that I was thinking, that not just donating or fundraising or giving money, but your time and your talent. And I think that tutoring it's a big commitment. It's a weekly, hour-long meeting, but I think you end up getting so much more out of it.
Anyone who really is like, let's say that they see someone on social media and they're super inspired and they really want to get to know someone with Down syndrome, I'm like, you need to be a tutor.
Yes.
That's the first thing. That if I can see it in their eye, that sparkle in their eye that they really want to make a friend or really get to know someone, then I tell them to become a tutor, because that's really how you're going to, there are other things, obviously, where you're going to, if you're working with a group or you come to a social event or something like that, that's super fun too. But if you want to really connect with someone, the tutoring program is where that volunteer would go.
And I don't think we mentioned when we were talking about the school age, but we also started school age tutoring here recently too.
Yes, yeah.
So that is a new thing for us, but we just we're hearing from our families that there was a need that we, I think we try to stay cautiously away from the school age where we let the school special ed folks do their thing, but we're still hearing from families that they needed more support. And so we just piloted a tutoring program for 6 of our members. It went really well. And so we're going to start that up again here soon. So school age tutoring. And then adult tutoring. So back at the after high school, there's so many opportunities in our community here in Louisville. We're actually really blessed to have a lot of job training and school options for them after high school. And we've made some partnerships or forged some partnerships here at DSL with 3 universities now who have programs. So we have JCTC, so Jefferson Technical Community College, right? Did I say that right?
Jefferson
County, right?
Jefferson Community Technical College.
You said that with Corey on the first episode. I was like, that's the hardest thing to say. But anyway, they have been doing it for a long time. We've had over 30 graduates from that program. So they get a certificate from college, and they wear the gown and they graduate, which is just an amazing experience for our members. And then we've now spread that into Bellarmine University and Ivy Tech. So in Southern Indiana. So yeah, that's just really exciting for us, our members, to not just have a job or a career waiting for them, but like a typical peer, they can go to college too. And so that's been really exciting. And then the other big thing that we do here that's our daily lives here at DSL is our Adult Development Academy. And again, that came from a college-like atmosphere. We wanted to create a college-like atmosphere for our members where they continue to learn and grow on into their 60s and 70s and more, we hope, these days. So a lot of our members come here. We have about 40 on average a day, over 100 a week. We encourage them not to come every day because we want them out in the community working or doing other things and getting involved in the community. So, but when they are here, it's amazing. And it's, like I said earlier, one of the best parts of our jobs is that we can walk down the hallway and really engage with our members and hang out with them. And it changes your perspective on a day when you've had stressful things like coronaviruses. No, they really are just amazing. There's never a time that you can't walk down to ADA and it brighten your day. But a typical day at ADA is they come in the morning and they do morning movement at 9 a.m. So about an hour of movement, which we all know is so important for all of us, not just members with Down syndrome, but all of us. I should be down there doing it with them every morning. I always say that. We have a smart board down there, so Richard Simmons is often the choice of for our members, which is so fun and entertaining. And then they also have other ways they can walk around. They can use some of our workout equipment. But again, just always commitment to that healthy lifestyle movement. And then they go into their classrooms for a few hours. So we try to keep the ratio below 10 to 1 or less in the classrooms to make sure that they're getting the most benefit out of the curriculum that we have. But they can learn, again, like you heard Katie say, math, easy math, right? She tells her teacher she only wants easy math. But we try to challenge them with math, menu math, but math that they use every day in their life, you know, things. Probably not your algebra that you're not going to use tomorrow, but things that they can use every day in their life. And then again, writing and life skills even too. You know, I used to love walking into one of our teachers' classrooms with the Post-it note that says, "This is okay to do with your boyfriend and girlfriend in public. This is not okay to do with your boyfriend and girlfriend in public." But you know, it's good reminders for everybody. Yeah, that's important. So they learn lots of great things. They get really close to their class and their peers, and so they do that, and then they have lunch. There's 2 rounds of lunch where they bring their lunch, and we have an amazing kitchen here at our facility, which was provided by donors. Texas Roadhouse helped us do the kitchen. But there are many microwaves. We know that that's an easy way for them to be able to feed themselves and live independently. So everybody knows how to microwave their meals. But we also have a dishwasher and use real dishes and, use those life skills that you'd have to use at home or on your own. And that's the goal, is always to have people be able to live as independently as possible. And so we're teaching them those life skills while they're here. And then in the afternoon, they have electives, or they'll go on outings. There's so many outings. I can't even keep track of the outings that ADA does. But they went to a baseball game today. Super fun. And then they do Meals on Wheels for volunteers. They're being a volunteer themselves, obviously, which is great. And but they'll go out to eat and just do social skills, that kind of thing. And then, so they have a student council meeting once a month, but that's where they get to pick their electives that they're going to do for the next few months. And so the electives are so fun. I just always like to go look and see what their electives are. There's everything from handyman, where they learn to use tools, again, like learning to hang something at your house so dad doesn't have to come over and do it for you. Right. I still have to have that happen. But things like that. They do gardening, storytelling. I think the last time it was like country music, storytelling, and then relationships or something. We kind of laughed like those are all the same thing. Yeah. We could just mix all those together. Country music, relationship, yeah. But yeah, obviously they love music. Music's a big one too. But yeah, it's just it's a really special place for them to be. I think it's, as much as we want them out and included and advocate for inclusion in our community, it's also home for them. Yeah, somewhere where they can feel super welcomed and comfortable, and very comfortable. Yeah. So you mentioned that we don't typically have them coming 5 days a week because they're out in the community working. So let's talk about our Career Solutions Department. Perfect segue. So yes, we have over 70 members out working in the community. And so they, again, help our Career Solutions specialists. We have 4 of them who help them find jobs, who help them learn job skills. So before they even get a job, now we have something called PREPS, which people always laugh at. What is that? But it's pre-employment training services, basically, and that we can start them at age 14, and just as I would say, floating that balloon, or giving them the idea that they can have a career, that they can have a job. Because I think sometimes even mom and dad forget to think that's an option, you know.
And individualized jobs too. Like you sit down in a meeting and you talk to all the people that love you the most, and they tell you all the great things about yourself. And then we talk about what job we think would be perfect for you. It's not just like putting you in a workshop.
Right. It's a self-discovery thing, definitely finding out the right fit for both the employer and the employee. And they did some things in PREPS this past week where they made your presentation boards all about themselves. So teaching them to advocate for themselves, to say who they are, what they like, what they're good at, and really just be able to showcase themselves. And I know they're having a reverse job fair, I think, coming up locally, but it's a great place for them to like show themselves off to employers, which I think is really cool.
That's really neat.
So pre-employment training, they do everything from self-advocacy to fake, say fake, that's not the right word, but mock interviews. So, how an interview would go if you went to interview an employer about what the job would be like, or if they were interviewing you to be an employee, what those questions look like. So that's really a great program. I think it's definitely a perfect precursor to actual employment. And I think it's probably improved our long-term employments. But we have, there's some guys that have longer careers than I do. Brian just celebrated 25 years at Kroger.
Oh, what? Matt Maloney?
Yeah. Is it Matt? Okay, Matt. Sorry,
yeah, Matt
Maloney,
Kroger. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, 25 years.
Awesome.
Yeah,
but they're some of the most committed hard workers, like Katie said, that you can find when you find the right job and they, love it. They're some of your great employees. So
absolutely
love that program.
Do we have a list anywhere? This just popped into my head. Do we have a list somewhere of all of our employers that like we could be like, go here because they employ here?
Yes, we do. We do. It's actually, I think, in the works for the new website.
Oh.
Thanks for the idea, Carly. No, yes, we do. We do. And we definitely want to give them shout outs and let people know that they can support them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I hear this constantly. Oh, I saw someone with Down syndrome working at so-and-so, or I saw them here. And it's such a cool, it's just very cool for people to recognize that and then, see me with a shirt on that says Down Syndrome of Louisville and then like make that connection.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And we have an employee here at Down Syndrome of Louisville as well.
Yeah,
who's worked for us for
and she's been here for
14 plus years, I think.
Yeah, we're getting up there. I feel like maybe someone even said 17.
Wow.
We'll have to have her on the show and interview her.
She obviously runs the place. It's not me. I learned it all from Kristen.
Yes. Okay, so Career Solutions, we talked about ADA, which is the Adult Development Academy.
What about Southern Indiana, Carly?
Yay, yes. Southern Indiana is a small but mighty group, and we are inside Trinity United Methodist Church.
Okay.
And we offer services mostly for that 11 and up, because as you said, here in Kentucky, we are a Medicaid provider, and in Indiana, we are not quite yet a provider, which is like most other associations in the country.
Correct, right.
So we're working on that. We're working on it. But right now, we do book club, which is another program that we have here in Kentucky as well. We do book club. That is age 16 and older. We have a living and learning class, which is a life skills class. We have the Boogie Down Crew, of course.
Of course.
And we have this great group speech therapy program in Indiana where our members can have speech therapy with some of their peers. And it's, again, it's that having that friend. We've got some people that have been in the same group for years and years, and they're best friends.
Right.
It's like very, very cool to
relationships.
See. Yeah, to see those, and then to see the progress of them too.
And we've bridged the Ohio Ocean a little bit here recently, right? Because we're right there on a state border with a river. So if you guys are in tri-state areas, you understand. But sometimes people don't want to come across the river for purposes, and it's not super convenient. We get that. Mm-hmm. But we were lucky enough to get a couple vans donated from TARC last year, which we love, and Carly's able to bring some people over for events.
Yeah, so we are able to provide transportation from Indiana, and also I've been scheduling events in Indiana and providing transportation from Kentucky to Indiana as well, which is
bridging the gap.
Yes, exactly.
Love it.
Access is super important to us.
And so then you mentioned therapy in Southern Indiana. That made me think of our therapy relationship here. So we have a contracted behavioral therapist on staff, or on a contract, who works with all the members who have behavior plans, and she is just awesome, does a great job, and is available to all our members. And then we also have a partnership with Associates in Pediatric Therapy, and so they are a large provider of therapies for OT, PT, and speech, so occupational physical therapy and speech therapy in Louisville and the surrounding area, really. And they are great. They come to our facility and provide services. So they have, I think it's almost 100 a month sessions here at DSL. So it's really nice for our families to be able to come a place where they know we have everything they need here to provide the service. They can take them out of ADA if they're here and just have their speech here. So it's one less place mom and dad have to go.
One less transition. Transitions can be so tricky.
Absolutely. And transportation. So yeah, we love that partnership as well.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about our aging population.
Yes.
Because we have some, obviously it's something that was not on anyone's radar, but our members are living longer and longer, which is incredible.
I get so excited about it. I feel like it's like uncharted territory.
Yeah.
You think about like the 60s and like, civil rights stuff, and like, oh, we're all so like, we'll never get to live anything like that because we're way past all those things, right? But we're not. Like, this is an unprecedented group of adults with Down syndrome who haven't been part of our community before. They weren't. But if you don't know that, I think in 1960 the average age was of life was 9 to 13, and then before that in the 50s it was the norm to institutionalize, and doctors would suggest that you institutionalize and go on with your life and your family, and it's so heartbreaking. But I think then for that reason, that wasn't that long ago, right? I mean, my parents were born in the 50s. That's crazy. So these people weren't part of the community. They weren't out there, and they're living longer and healthier lives on top of that with technology and having heart surgeries that they may not have been provided before due to their diagnosis. And so, yeah, I feel like it's exciting. It's challenging, and it can be really tough and emotional at times too, but it's also, I feel like, really exciting, and just gives us all new things to discover and ways to support them. And we're learning every day with them. And again, that's kind of the excitement of it, is just that how can we take the next step and stay one step ahead of where they are so that we can provide them the best place to be.
Right.
It's also an issue of where they go next, right, if we can't have them here any longer. And that's where I know they just suggested in Frankfurt in politics, I won't go there, but to have direct supports for folks who may need a little bit more support than just the 10-to-1 teacher ratio we have here. And so that would be really important to us if there was state funding for that, because if we could have a little bit more support, we could keep them here a little longer.
Yeah.
We just know if they go to a nursing facility, they would probably go downhill from there. And that's just the last thing we want to see.
Of course. So what steps have we taken here at DSL for our aging population?
Well, I mentioned our 19,000 square foot building here. We are so blessed to have, and it's really what catapulted us into providing services and having all the things that we do. But we are constantly morphing the building as we grow and change into what we need it to be. And what we had here recently was what we called a teen lounge, and I think it honestly was the original ADA gathering area, because there was only 12 people in our adult development academy. But it looks kind of like a college hangout, which is really cool, but we need it for our older guys now. So we are going to look into really creating a space here in our building that brings them comfort and meets their needs. And so we are looking to fundraise for that now. We've reached out to Thrive, which is the local center here in Louisville. It's kind of like a showroom of all the things that are helping folks with dementia and aging. And so what can we bring here that will help? We also had a staff member who got trained on PAC, which is called Positive Approach to Care, a program made by Teepa Snow. But it's definitely, again, just teaching people compassion and tools to work with those with dementia. It also has a really great way of ranking their symptoms. And so kind of knowing where they are in the stages of dementia, which is really important for us too, as we, again, work with each member individually. But anyway, we're really excited about that space. We're learning things as we go. I always tell the story of Larry. So Larry is one of our members. He turned 60 this summer. We celebrated with him and had cake, and it was so fun. But with dementia, we learned that your eyesight will start to go first. And so it's kind of like binoculars. Like your vision will kind of close in and be smaller and smaller. And there were times that Larry did not want to go down the hallway. and he was stopping at certain spots in the hallway. And we finally put together that we think he thought there was an obstacle when there was either a carpet or a change in color of the floor, that he didn't like that. And it made him nervous. And again, that's just so interesting to me because I'm like, 10 years ago, when we built the building, and we thought that different colored floor was pretty. You know, like nobody thought that would be an issue. But we're, again, learning as we go. So we need to change that. We need to figure out better ways to with Larry, we actually took him outside. He likes to be outside. So I think they walked him around outside if he had, an issue one day. So again, it's just kind of, we're learning as we go with each member that starts to show symptoms, and how we can best provide for them.
And partnership with UK?
Yes, they are doing an aging study. So any of our guys that get diagnosed with dementia, we immediately suggest that they contact them. Again, the more studying we can do early on, the better it is for those who age, or those who are young now and getting older. So, and honestly, for a typical population, it's really a great, resource for them to be able to find out how it's affecting our members at a younger age,
right? So
that they can help typical folks when they're older too. So there's so much there. I mean, we're just starting to peel the onion of things that we can do to really, support them. But that room I was talking about, some of the things we thought we're going to do is like a peaceful outdoor mural, a smart board already in there for them to be able to watch, turn on music or watch things that bring them comfort. Music, as we've already mentioned, is a love of all of our members, but it's also really important in aging. So they say that when you're on your deathbed, you could maybe not be talking, eating, interacting, but if the right song comes on that brings back something, you'll start tapping your toe or things like that. So that's, again, I think of Larry when I think of that, because his favorite music is the older time music, old country music. If you turn it on, it just changes his demeanor. So anyway, just having access to that. Some rocking chairs, things that bring them comfort, and then more hand, baby dolls. We're thinking about doing a vanity area. We have a lot of older ladies that like to get fixed up and
primp.
Yeah, so that would be a really fun space. And then a lot of the hand-eye coordination things. So it's interesting. Don't we all always revert back to childlike things in the end? But things we have in the preschool room that are locks and turns and zippers and stuff like that. It can be repeated in the aging room, that they can really work on that. We're still talking about what we're going to call them. We affectionately call them the golden group right now, but we're going to think about, what we can call that group without being just the aging group.
Yeah. Someone was like, sounds like Golden Girls. Yeah. We don't want them to sound like Golden Girls. So we'll just right now, until we get a fun name.
Yeah, leave us a message or send us an email if you have an idea.
kindnesswarriorpod
what to call them.
Okay, did we miss anything? I mean, there's so much more.
I'm sure we missed 1,000 things.
Yeah, but we're gonna send them to the website, and they can look. We offer so much support. One of our episodes coming up, Dr. Jenny Kimes is going to be on, and I already said we're going to have her back every single season because she is such a wealth of knowledge. She's going to talk about the DS diet, but she's on staff and she's a psychologist, and she offers lots of support for our families. And we have mom groups, we have dad squad, we have sib squad, there's so much going on around here. This is I feel like a great kind of overview.
Yeah, I feel like we could have a really long podcast if we tried to talk about everything.
Yeah,
I think we
already do have a really long podcast.
Sorry, but 70,
don't. Yeah,
75, I think, plus programs, resources, services, partnerships, all those things. Yeah, we didn't even touch on partnerships. There's just so many things. So again, but we're also obviously just trying to always meet as many needs as we can for our members, and our mission is to support, educate, and advocate, and involve the community in doing that. And there's just that, I feel like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
they really are.
The most important thing that I want people to take away from this interview is that Down Syndrome of Louisville offers lifelong learning.
Absolutely.
And we're, as far as we know, are we the only one?
I think we're the only lifelong learning center in the world.
Yeah, so lifelong learning to us means from prenatal diagnosis all the way through the end of life.
So we have programming and services throughout that entire time, yes. Yeah. If anybody knows differently, give me a call. But I'm going to keep claiming it as long as possible.
And we're also gold accredited.
Yes, we are still the only gold accredited, and that's through Down Syndrome Affiliates in Action. So that's a national group that gets together all of the nationwide associations. We were just there last weekend for their national conference, but they provided some criteria as to what makes everybody I think it's silver, bronze, gold, but we are the only gold accredited, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then one more question that people ask all the time: how do we pay for all this?
Well, it takes over $1 million a year to make all this happen, and that's fundraised dollars. So we have to raise over $1 million, and I keep telling my staff we have to raise more than $1 million if we want to keep growing. You know, we said that we just touched the surface, so it's just we'd love to have 100 programs, services, resources, but we've got to have the funding to do it. And so that's really just the message we try to get out. That comes to like $3,000 a day. So it's a lot of money. But we know that there are a lot of people who are impacted by our members in our community and in the world. And so we hope that the way that they can give back and support them would be to help support our programs.
Absolutely. And what would they do if they want to support a day at DSL?
A day at DSL. So you can contact us on the email for the podcast below, or you can just reach out. You stop by if you're in the community. But we are kind of launching this sponsor a day at DSL, and we really, again, want to offer back to the donor the joy that our members bring that you talked about with tutoring, like the relationships and getting to spend time with them and how life-changing it can be. And so by raising $3,000 or donating $3,000, you get to bring yourself and your team or your group, your beta club, your staff at work to DSL for a day. We'll give you a tour, tell you about what we do. You'll get to hang out with the members for about an hour, whether it's play games or dance. Like we said, dance parties are never turned down.
Yes.
And then have lunch with them. And then we'll take pictures and blast it on social media and just make sure that everybody gets the most out of the day. So that's what sponsoring a day at DSL is. And
that sounds so fun.
Yeah, right? I think everybody should do it for their staff retreats and service projects.
Yes.
But we love to help you do that too. I know $3,000 may sound like a lot to some groups, but I think, again, with the power of social media and asking your friends and family,
absolutely,
that's easy to raise, and then we can all celebrate together.
Absolutely. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know that it's been quite a day today. If you're listening to this and you're on quarantine, thank you for listening.
We'll get more episodes out so you can keep listening.
We might, if the podcast team is on quarantine, we might be able to get together and make a bunch more episodes. So
we could stop doing anything tomorrow and have stories and information and resources to share with you guys for 3 years of podcasts. So we just can't wait to keep sharing it all.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
you rock.
You rock.
This has been the Kindness Warrior Podcast, a Down Syndrome of Louisville production. To learn more about Down Syndrome of Louisville, visit our website, downsyndromeoflouisville.org. If you have questions for us, email kindnesswarriorpod@dsoflou.org. It's also in the show notes. Music was written and produced by Alex Stotts and Owen Eiler. This episode was produced and edited by Ethan Holstein and me, Martin Lindsay. Your host was Carly Riggs. Thanks for listening to the Kindness Warrior Podcast here at Down Syndrome of Louisville. We are serving locally and sharing globally.